Welcome to today's program, The Youth President. This is a program that has been organized for the youth to demonstrate their skills in leadership.
This program has been designed to equip and empower our youth with the necessary skills to demand accountability within the various aspects of our governance process. An empowered youth is an empowered future. After so many essays written, 15 prospective applicants have been shortlisted for this next stage of the program, after which the best will be selected for the next stage of the program, which is the reality TV show. Before we proceed, I would like to introduce the judges for this August program. Our first judge is a local governance expert, Kwesi Michael Ofe. Can I have a big round of applause as I introduce him? Our second judge is from the office of the Provost, College of Humanities, University of Ghana, Miss Nancy Osua. Third and final judge is a face known to all of us here. He's a lecturer and the coordinator of the distance education program of the Department of Political Science, University of Ghana, Dr. Evans Agri Darko. My name is Gabriel Francis Ishen, and I'll be your MC for this event, and I'll be supported by
Peace Ifwa Samson.
Before we proceed, we would like to introduce the contestants who will be participating in this particular program. So if I can have all the contestants here on stage. You come, introduce yourself, and tell us where you're coming from, the institution you belong to. Can I have all the contestants on stage? So go ahead, your name and the institution you come from. Where you present.
My name is Ivan Snea Itego from the University of Ghana, Legon.
My name is Jean-Philippe Taylor-Lawson, student at the Ghana Institute of Journalism and a writer. Thank you.
My name is Antonio Damasino from the University of Ghana.
Hello, my name is Kweku Kwating Bonsu from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Thank you very much. My name is Joel Irajwa Wood, University of Ghana. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is PC and Anaya.
I'm Matilda Santofuri from the University of Ghana, Legon. Thank you.
And of course, it's called the University of Professional Studies.
I'm Kumita from the Ghana Institute of Management of Public Administration, GIMPA.
I am Bayoni Dramani Mars from the University of Ghana, Legon.
These are the rules of the game. Each contestant will have a maximum of 5 minutes to deal with a question posed by the judges. So if I may ask the contestants to please go outside, we'll call you one after the other to come in as and when it's your turn. Tell us your name once again.
I'm Jean-Philippe Taylor-Lawson.
You have about 5 minutes to deal with a question posed to you by the judges. Okay. Over to you, judges.
Tell us, what do you think should be the relationship between the national governance structure as we have it and the local government system? What should be the relationship?
Okay. The national government structure, I believe, is the larger system or the macrocosm, and the local government system is just a micro aspect of it. The relationship between them should be mutual, in the sense that there should be a flow of communication between them. There should be mutual coexistence, because if communication flows well, they'll understand what the situation is on the ground, because the national system will need aspects of itself to function very effectively, and that that relationship should be built on trust, should be built on communication. There should be a lot of information. So DCEs, MMDCs should channel information to reach the national government system, the national government structure, for them to be able to know the policies and programs to implement to help the whole system to work effectively.
So you indicated trust. So how relevant is trust in governance? What specific role should trust play in governance?
Trust is very relevant in governance because there's this quote that says, trust is the glue that binds leaders and followers. And trust is very important because it will be the basis on which to measure public opinion. It will be the basis on which to ascertain the needs of the people and understand how to meet them. So that in a case where the national government structure is functioning, maybe at the executive level, there wouldn't be a case of sycophancy where they'll just be giving them information which is not what's on the ground. And that way they wouldn't be at a loss as to what the country needs, what the country needs to do, and what they also need to help the people for them to progress. So trust plays a very critical role, and it will be engendered if there's transparency, if there's truth in what is being told. So if there's a conflict in maybe in Kunya, it should be reported as it is. It shouldn't be said to favor just one aspect of the group or the conflicting groups. That's to help in mediation. So that way trust plays a very critical role in the relationship, as I mentioned. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for these responses. You've heard the election of MMDs, district chief executives, municipal chief executives, and so on, right? Metropolitan chief executives. The contention has been that the election of these MMDCs will have the capacity of enhancing participation at the local level. It will promote accountability at the local level. It will enhance high level of, send government closer to the doorsteps of the people, what we call grassroots participation. What is your own assessment of this government decision to make these MMDCs an elective positions?
Okay. I believe it's very important for us to send governance to the grassroots level. And yes, when they participate in governance, it means no one is out of the governance process, and it even deepens democracy because it calls for active participation in governance by all people. And for the government's decision to elect these leaders at the local level, I believe it's very important because it will promote, first of all, accountability. This is in a case where people they will be leading or will oversee at that basic level in terms of grassroots participation would know that yes, I elected you, and then I have a power in saying what you should do or have a stake in saying what you should do. But if it's only in a case where they are appointed, then power is in the hands of the one who appointed and not the people, and that way power is not shared, and it takes an authoritarian stance and not a libertarian one, where you can't meet at a common level with the MMDC, for example, or DC, for example, to share information at a very common level. So I believe electing them will promote accountability.
You have less than a minute to go.
Yeah, and the last question perhaps will be, what should be the role of chiefs, for instance, in local governance, considering the fact that our constitution debars them from active participation in politics? What should be their role, and how do you think that we can leverage their participation at the local level for good governance?
The very first role of chiefs, in my view, is that the chiefs should help to sustain culture and harmony in their state. This is because Ghana is changing gradually, and most of the conflicts which we experience are because of conflict at those lower levels, and chiefs should be the catalyst to promote and harmony. And that way, when there's peace and harmony at the national level, programs and policies can be carried out without impediment in any way. So chiefs should sustain culture and promote peace and harmony.
Thank you very much, contestants. And on that note, that is the end of the contestant number one. He's of the view that there should be harmony for chiefs to partake in the governance system. Thank you very much, contestant. Can we have your name once again?
They are not here.
Over to you, judges.
My name is Ivan Itego.
So I understand there might be quite a challenge in the elections of the MMDC and the DCE, and the DCE. What, in your opinion, do you think it's a major challenge, and how can we address this issue?
Thank you very much. I think that the MNDC and the district chief election, the major problem that may occur, in my view, is that there will be a conflicting of power in terms of the metropolitan aspect and then that of the local aspect, that's the less developed district. So there may be a conflicting of power, and then we have to, I think that what the government can do is that the elections will not be, the elections will be separated from the two entities so that there could be some kind of harmony among them. Thank you.
Harmony among who?
Both the district chief executive and the MDC, the entity.
Now, so you are saying that there will be harmony between which specific functionaries, the district chief executive and who?
And then this is MDC.
Some conceptual confusion there, but let's see. Do you think that there is any merit at all in the decision of government to make this position an elective one? Do you think there's any merit at all?
Yes, please. Because now development of the country depends on the grassroots, that's the decentralization process. So therefore, if government allows the people to participate in the choosing of their leaders, it's going to help them interact with the leaders and also inform them about issues that concerns the various districts. So I think that it will help in development, and then there will be also.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If MMCs are elected, it will create more harmony within the various setup. Thank you very much. Can we have the next contestant, please? Introduce yourself, tell us your name.
I'm Matilda Santofori from the University of Ghana, Legon.
And that good governance is described as a sort of a process that ensures inclusion and participation. So as a female or as a lady, I would like to know from the grassroots level, how are you going to ensure women participation or involvement in local government policies?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. How I'm going to ensure this is to first, through education and as well as work with the media. We know per the constitution that the media helps by bringing out the freedoms and rights of individuals as well as our responsibility. So it's about educating each and every woman from the little stage to the higher stage about women participating in governance, because most people through gender imbalance have the perception or notion that it is men that should participate in governance. So this is what I try to strive for.
So when I go to the street of Accra, when I use the street of Accra to say Makola, I see a lot of young people by the roadside. The majority of them are girls. I'm particular about girls over here right now. So I want to know, should you become the youth president in Ghana, what one thing you do to tackle the issue of child labor, child hawking on the street?
Okay, I would not say child labor per se, because they are doing that because of the underlying factor poverty. So should poverty be not eradicated but perhaps reduced, I think they would not really be on the street. And it's all bounce back to education. If we are able to really educate them, like to be in the schools, like junior high schools, I think they would not really be on the street. So it still bounce back to education. When I get the opportunity to be the youth president, I'll put this message or policies across that people on the streets should rather be in school, and the government should do their best to get money into mobilizing them in school to cater for their needs.
This in that way,
this has been, the government do try their best, but I think there is still more to be done.
Thank you very much, contestant. Can we have our next contestant, please?
Your name again?
Kweku Kwatin Bonsu.
How much do you know about the educational reforms that are taking place now?
Not much, but I'm trying my best to learn about that and come up with solutions that are going to help benefit students and other people of Ghana.
Well, what do you understand by local governance? When they say local governance, what does it mean to you?
Local governance to me should be basically leaders at the grassroots level of governance, of the government, sorry.
So what makes it local?
MCs, DCs. The full government system is at the national level. So they would need people at the grassroots level to actually take on policies and directives that they have put in place for the country. So then the people down there at the grassroots are the local government, at the local level, sorry.
So who and who constitutes an assembly, district assembly?
A district assembly. I should suppose it should be the district chief executive and the members. I know of only the district chief executive. I don't know about the rest.
You don't know the members of an assembly?
No. It should be the DC and I think the assemblyman.
Why do you think the president has to appoint some members of the district assembly?
Because the president cannot do everything himself. He would need, I mean, that's why he appoints first the ministers and people of the cabinet and so on. He would need people down there where the people of Ghana actually are, to actually let them know what the government is about and what they actually have in store for the people, and actually take out these directives and whatever they are supposed, the government decides to do for the people.
Very much, contestants. And he is of the view that local governance comprises grassroots governance. Thank you.
I am Bayoni Dramani Muaz.
Your question will be coming from Dr. Evans Agridako.
I'm happy to see you. Why are you here, please?
Thank you for the question. My folks in the political science department, or anyone here who is interested about politics, must have heard Aristotle orate that man is by nature a political animal. Nonetheless, some of us are not so much always into politics. I happen to be someone who is interested about politics and interested about the youth partaking of politics in this country. Now, what this means is that when issues about youth participation in politics arise, then there is an arousement of interest by myself to partake of such activities, and the very I choose to be part of the youth press.
So that interest is fueled by what? What is the underlying motivation?
Interest is fueled by the inspiration of getting the youth work for this country to ensure that this country is developed. Now, recently we are aware that the youth of this country are showing interest in politics. Nonetheless, the interest is not so much as according to my own standard. And this is the reason why I want to partake of this contest, to be able to encourage, even though as a mere electorate of this country and a youth, I can advise my of politics. I think that this would be a greater platform to help me exercise that.
So thank you. So you think that getting the development that you so badly desire, you think that good governance can get us there? You think so?
In every society, good governance plays a very good role. Now, the role good governance plays is that it helps us to get developed. Now, when I talk about development and you talk about good governance, there is a relationship, a mutual relationship. What this relationship seeks to do is to get all electorates or all citizens of any country at all or state involved in the activities of the government. In here, I'm talking about participation by the youth or any citizen of the country. So if I am concerned about development and I'm concerned about partaking of the Youth President Ghana, what I seek to do is by using this platform to encourage we or young people to partake of activities of the country to ensure that good governance is put in place and that we can get developed as a state.
So you think that by encouraging elections of DCs or metropolitan municipal district chief executives, you think that that has a way of promoting good governance at a local level?
When this issue came up, some of us as young activists raised our voices to that. Now what I strongly stood for was the election of these people. Now why I stand for this, or why I make this stance, is due to the fact that the president, as the administrative head of this country, only appoints people to take these positions. I am not forgetting the fact that when they appoint these people, they have to get the approval of members of presiding members before they can be the MMDCs or the DCEs. So why I wanted the president to ensure that there will be an election is that a copious number of people may come up showing interest in contesting for such positions. Now what this means is that the best person by the citizens will be chosen and put there. With this, I believe that effective governance would be brought closer and nearer to the people.
A point of clarification. Did you say that the president's nominee would need an endorsement of presiding members? Is that what you heard?
Assembly members.
Okay, all right, okay.
Assembly members.
Okay, that point must be made clear. Now, you know that the composition of the assembly will have elected members, and some of them are also appointed by the government.
The time is almost up.
It is true that there are appointed.
What is the value in the appointment of
Please, can you come again with the
members?
question?
Yes. Why do you think that government will have to nominate or appoint some people into the assembly? What is the value of that?
Now, when talking about electing people, even though election is good, the appointment is also good, to the effect that maybe the president or any other person in the position of leadership feels it is important to get someone who is good at some expertise to help the person exercise their activities. Now what this appointment seeks to do is that maybe as the minister of this country or the president of this country, I feel that this person has the expertise. For example, yourself, I believe, has the expertise to chair the minister of, to be the minister of education. And so if I feel it is important to put you in that position, then it is only expedient that I put you there to be able to do the work effectively and efficiently as I want.
Thank you for that free appointment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, contestant. Our contestant sees the need for the election of MMCDs. Can we have the next contestant, please?
My name is Julie Rajwa Wood.
Your question will be coming from Judge Nancy Owusua.
Hi, Rajwa.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, girl empowerment. Okay, so tell us a little bit about why you're here today.
Okay, so I'm here for the youth president platform that will bring more ladies into government, and that's why I see myself in years to come.
How is it going to bring more ladies into government?
Education, bringing more ladies. The youth president program, okay. I think if it getting to like the school like this, people who are interested will take part in it, especially the ladies.
Okay. So you know about the DCEs, right? Mention 4 of their roles. 4 roles they perform.
Please, I don't know about it.
Do you know about the district chief executive?
Okay, I know they are administration tier of government. That's what I know about it.
And their roles?
Their roles is getting information from the grassroots up to the national level. I think, and then they are just the means.
Okay. So there's this notion that the DCEs do not perform as they are supposed to. Do you agree or not?
Okay, I think they are not doing a good job. I think they can do better, the DCEs, because you know, mostly during elections, before elections, you see people coming around getting our concerns and things, but when they get into government, they don't really get to us.
So do women have in local government policies?
Okay, I think they can get to the people, they can go to schools, they can start from secondary school level, they can go to girls' schools, empowered, you can get people who are like role models, someone like Samia Baumia, to get to the people, talk to them. People actually listen to people like that. When I see maybe Rebecca coming to have a program here, I'll be interested because I know that she's come to tell me something that will make me a better person. Women empowerment, I can go to schools, you know, and get other women in government to join me in it. And it will really be helpful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much, contestant. Can we have the next contestant, please? Tell us your name, please.
My name is Emmanuel Ejakuminta.
Your question will be coming from Judge Kwesi Michael Ofe. Over to you, judges.
What is local governance?
Local governance refers to the body politic that's supposed to implement policies of the central government and also of the district assembly within the local communities in our surroundings.
So, can you establish between a difference between the national and the local? What makes that difference?
I think the distinctive difference between them is the national creates a policy framework for the whole nation. The national is supposed to embody every part of the nation in its policy, but the local deals specifically with issues concerning the locality in which they find themselves. So if, for instance, the DCE probably for would have to concern himself with issues within that community, but the national body concerns themselves with issues concerning within the jurisdiction of Ghana.
Thank you. Why do you think citizens should participate in governance?
Okay. The basic understanding that I have obtained from reading law is the power of the government in itself resides in the people. If you look at Article 1.1 of the Constitution, it talks about how sovereignty of the Constitution resides in the people. So we actually understand, and also if you read John Locke's Second Treaty of Government, you understand that government does not derive power by itself. The government derives power from the citizens, and in the exercise of that power, they are supposed to exercise the power within the limits of the Constitution and also exercise that power to the benefits of citizens, so that at any point in time when government fails to perform its mandate, that is to make sure that the life, liberties and pursuit of happiness of the citizens are not being adhered to, that government can be removed. So what this gives me a basic understanding is, yes, the inclusion of citizens is very important and is very vital to the development of any nation state in the world.
Thank you. Arguments have been raised that chiefs should not actively participate in politics. What is your beef on that?
My opinion. Now, chiefs constitute a very important part of our society. They are very revered in our society, especially because of the African context we find ourselves. Now, the main problem is the politics which we practice in our country has become very divisive. Very divisive in the sense that people do not accord respect to certain people because they hold certain political opinions, and people do not also adhere to things people say because they come from certain different political opinions. Now, what the chief's main role is supposed to be in our society is supposed to be the underlying mediator For example, if you look at the Queen of England, she is supposed to be like a mediator between the people and the government. When we have chiefs participating actively in politics, it blurs the line between they being objective in, let's say, issues of dispute resolution in the country, and it also puts them in a tight spot where people will now have probably certain legitimate claims not. I feel that the chieftaincy institution as it is very sacrosanct and it's very important for especially conflict resolution in Ghana. Therefore, chiefs should not participate actively in the politics of this country.
Contestant, I didn't get your name. Let's mention your name again. Ejakum something.
Emmanuel Ejakuminta.
Ejakuminta. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, contestant. Can you tell us your name?
My name is PC Nanaya Osafo.
Okay, your question will be coming from Dr. Evans Agridalko. Over to you, judges.
You are welcome, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
What do you want?
What do I want?
Yes.
That's a very good question. I think, like all Ghanaian youth, I want to be comfortable in life. No need for jokes and stuff. We all want some money in our lives, comfort, a good family, homes, and stuff like that. But of course, that's tied to the tail of governance within our sector. Not necessarily leaving everything to Akufo-Addo and Mahama, but my ability to be responsible as a Ghanaian and to comment when things are going wrong, and to see that comment, and see that comment not only being out there, but making use or being acted upon as a Ghanaian. Yeah.
All right. Now, tell me, we are operating a hybrid constitution. What is that hybrid? When we say it's a hybrid constitution, what do we mean?
Honestly, I do not fully grasp
okay.
it. Yeah.
Now, we're operating a constitution where the executive is also in parliament. How does that undermine the whole concept of separation of powers within government?
I think obviously from the onset, having a minister of state who's going to, or who is supposed to have his or her issues to be vetted or to be acted upon or checked by parliament, having that same person in that same body in itself causes a clash that will not augur well for the people, because obviously if I belong to a certain sect and I belong to the other, there's no way I'm going to compromise myself. I happen to be a minister who, for instance, wants to approve a 10,000 Ghana budget, which may be expensive, but I happen to have the power in parliament. Now, parliament is supposed to act as a check. That means if the executive is doing beyond or below what it's supposed to, government it acts as a gadfly, so to speak, hitting his hand and telling him that no, this is what the people are supposed to do. But unfortunately, if you happen to be in such areas, it's logically inconsistent that I'm going to, once I've taken that decision as government or as part of government, I'm going to go against myself and say no. So at the end of the day, we have a very weak system if we cause this hybrid. Yeah.
But in a parliamentary system, almost all the ministers have also MPs.
Yes.
So how different is this?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying, that when we have such a system, it causes a certain weakness. Of course, it has its advantages, but most of the time, when you happen to have 2 feet or one leg in 2 different homes, it causes a detriment to one sector as compared to the other. So,
what will be your comment if I say that the President of the Republic of Ghana is unnecessarily powerful? What will be your comment?
I would agree, first of all, but it won't be due to procedure necessarily. I'll say it's due to the people. I've always been of the view that yes, we have bad governance or bad leadership in Africa, but it's not necessarily because of the bad leadership itself. It's because the followership have been lazy, because the followership have refused to stand up for stuff. Our thoughts now as an MPP man, when you ask an MPP man now what is good for Ghana, they're going to tell you what is good for Ghana is what Akufo-Addo says. So if Akufo-Addo says it's free education, it is free education. If Akufo-Addo says all Ghanaians should be beheaded tomorrow, it is that. That too much partisanship is what's causing the executives to be unnecessarily powerful, because we have surrendered our powers as the people to them unnecessarily, and that's what's causing the situation.
And you don't think that that has anything to do with the institutional creation, that the Constitution has vested too much powers in the president, and that is why he's overly powerful?
Of course, to some extent, that's true, but I keep my stance that it is the people. The people make the institutions. The people make the institutions work. If they are not working, we make them pay. We change the institutions and tenets within them if necessary. But once we feel too comfortable and say, okay, there's a buying somewhere, there's government somewhere, and we are supposed to follow, the things in our society will keep on being the same.
So, would you be suggesting, that the people should go against the law? If, for instance, the law says that the president should wield these powers.
That's what I'm saying. So we the people, if that is so, even if it is so where the president is a dictator and has 100% power within the state, so we the people decide to go against that, or decide to say, no, this isn't how it's supposed to be. He's going to wield that power endlessly, because the power at the end of the day lies in our hands. So we stand up and say there is a problem, there won't be a problem.
Okay. Now, tell me in simple terms, how you think Parliament, for instance, can promote good governance in Ghana?
I think the first thing Parliament can do is to educate the people necessarily. We have a too fancy notion of Parliament duties in Ghana for the average Ghanaian, and this is very disturbing, because we expect that my member of Parliament is supposed to be constructing fancy roads and building hospitals, when actually his view in the state of governance is what we need.
Yeah, less than a minute to go.
Most people in the country do not even know this. And first, education matters. Second, getting the people's views in how I delegate. I can't just go, just because I've been elected to represent the people, to give my view. I think on some bills, it will be necessary that they have people, or they have assemblies within their various sects, get to meet the people, the common watcher or whoever. What does the person think of this? Then you get their views and you pass it on for governance.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, contestants.
My name is Antonio Edem Asinyo from the University of Ghana.
Your question will be coming from Judge Nancy Osua. Over to you, judges.
Antonio, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Nancy. How are you too?
I'm fine, thank you. Why are you here?
I'm here because I saw this competition. I got interested in the concept of it, which is leadership and debate. So personally, I'm here to participate.
All right. Today, mostly we are looking at good governance at the local level. So how are you going to explain good governance, the concept of good governance, to a 10-year-old?
Thank you very much. I would basically explain in simple terms that good governance being part, leadership and followership, and how it operates in propelling the well-being of its citizens. So as a 10-year-old, I'm very sure he or she must understand that every citizen is a follower, and that followership needs leadership to guide it to the promised land. So in that simple terms, that's how I tell my sister or brother who is 10-year-old what good governance is.
Right. I would like to know who the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development is.
The Minister for Local Government and Rural Development is Hajia Halima Mahama.
So then, since she is the minister and she's a female, what do you make of the fact that women should be included in local policy decision making?
I think that it is extremely important, and it is important because looking at the historical background, men have dominated the scene in decision making, and this will require an affirmative action in order to make this a reality. The affirmative action being that at the local level we need to involve women compulsorily in the participation. For example, I'm sure if the University of Ghana as a community decides that as a matter of policy, and I know we already have an affirmative policy when it comes to admission, but on the SRC level, the GA members in every hall are going to have at least 2 nominees, because I know they have 5 nominees. They will compulsorily have to present 2 nominees, 2 of ladies to the General Assembly. I'm sure they will be able to learn from that ground. Also in our classroom, course reps, it's important that mandatorily we bring up a policy where we will have a male and female course rep to be able to participate or learn from that basic level. That will endanger them, that will interest them into participating when they grow up getting out of the university. So I think that participation from women should be from the grassroots, and it must be consciously done through affirmative action.
Right. Do you agree to an extent that our government is corrupt?
It's an interesting question. I do think that the perception of corruption is what actually have been around, but I think as a person we rather need to have institutions to prove to her that those people are corrupt, because if those institutions are strong, they'll be able to give us evidence of corruption without necessarily the opposition at every point in time bandwagoning on a perception of corruption in order to deceive the public. So if the institutions are right and working, they will be able to give us evidence of corruption and people will be punished accordingly. In that case, we'll have evidence of corruption, but as of now, it's only a perception.
Right. Do you think that we need an additional region in this country?
Wow.
And why?
I do think that we don't. And we don't because I think bringing an additional region brings extra cost. One, the argument of additional region to the 10 we have would be to further decentralize the issue of governance. But the question is, the current decentralization we have, has it been effective enough? I don't think so. So in order for us to even make sure that we get it right from the start, why don't we perfect that before we move to the next round? Again, I think that when we create additional region, it is actually going to be just for the political purpose, and it's going to actually be a drain on the national budget, especially when government is struggling for resources for other equally important stuff. So I think that for now, the issue of additional region can be put on hold for us to pay attention to the schools that other regions have, for us to pay attention to the hospitals and the human development that we so badly need.
What do you think of free SHS policy?
I think in concept it's a wonderful policy. It's a wonderful policy, and I think I'll encourage every citizen to participate. However, I think the focus should be on the quality that we give, because I'm personally very saddened when I see politicians virtually patronizing the populace with certain policies. But the concept of free SHS is good, but we should focus on quality. An example is, I do think that we can go to the Finland and the Switzerland to look at the models they have, because in Finland, no matter where you are, the standards of the schools are the same. But as we have it here, yesterday there's a report on CTFM that the food what you're giving to people didn't have shito and didn't have egg or protein. It's embarrassing. The concept is good, but the commitment to it as a nation, we must make sure that we demand the quality and not just the free of it.
Right. Very much.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you very much, Antonio.
I'm Emmanuel, University of Ghana.
Emmanuel what? Your full
Emmanuel
name?
Dapa.
Your question will be coming from Judge Kwesi Michael Ofe.
What has brought you here this morning?
I'm here contesting for the Youth President Ghana, and I heard this advert in one of our lectures when Dr. Bosman announced it, and I was quite interested in it because I believe in the youth participation in governance, because I'm quite against the kind of gerontocracy that we have in Africa.
Can you explain to some of us what?
It's gerontocracy basically is a situation or a type of governance whereby the old people takes charge of the daily administrative affairs of the state.
In 1988, we had only 65 districts in this country. Today we have 216.
I think as years go by, there is a need for us to focus on decentralization. And it's one area that Ghana have been lacking behind, and I think it's one of the reasons why we are still underdeveloped. Because you need to bring governance to the doorsteps of the people to ensure that there is participatory governance, in the sense that people are directly involved in matters that affect their life. When there is decision making, you need to take it to the doorsteps of the people so that they take charge in it. So I think that is the rationale behind this increase in the district assemblies in Ghana.
What do you think it does to governance?
I think it also ensures good governance in the essence of transparency and accountability. When leaders are aware that they are to respond or to give account directly back to the people, they tend to be more efficient. And then in most instances during election periods, you see this most of our MPs and most politicians going back to the grassroots because they need the vote of the people. So I think with decentralization, when people are directly involved, it keeps government on its toes.
This number of has contributed towards the development of this country?
All right. In the first place, I will talk about the road networks. When you have a district capital, you can't just leave the roads of the district capital untarred. You have to construct good roads for them. You have to give them, provide them with social amenities. And then there are certain government institutions that district assemblies are required to have. For instance, every regional capital in Ghana is supposed to have a tertiary institutions. So I think with this centralization, it somehow facilitates development in Ghana. Every regional capital
is supposed to have
a tertiary institution.
Is that in law? Is there in any law that stipulates that?
I can't emphatically say that.
No, but you have said it.
Yeah, that's per my knowledge. That's what.
Maybe that is the practice.
Yes.
That's what you are seeing.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Where do you come from?
I'm from Brekum in the Brunafo region.
There's been an argument that chiefs should not participate in politics.
Yes.
Actively participate in politics. What you think about that?
I think the pioneers of Ghana's constitution thought it wise that chiefs should be, because if you look at Ghana's style of chieftaincy that we have in Ghana, they tend to have some kind of respect. They command respect from the people. And we have over partisanship in Ghana, where when somebody is an NDC or an MPP man, he even sees to some extent that the NDC guy is an enemy. So if you have a chief who is taking one side, the people don't trust you. That kind of respect is gone. So with chiefs, we heard about what happened in Sunyani with Sunyani Hene proud to the elections declaring 70% vote for the ex-president. And then when that time the MPP chairman also came to give some uncalled for comments. When he was appointed as regional minister, they came and then they said they won't accept him, they can't live with him. So I think that's one of the reasons why chiefs have to be, they don't have to be directly involved in politics.
Thank you.
Can we have the next contestant, please?
I'm in the person of Collins Koda, and I'm a graduate from University of Professional Studies, Accra.
Your question will be coming from Dr. Evans Agredako. Over to you, judges.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, another opportunity. You are welcome.
Thank you, Doc.
Why would you want to be in this program?
Thanks for the question, Doc. My main aim for being on this platform or participating in this program is to harness my knowledge in democracy and nation building, and also help consolidate democracy from below, that's from the youth stage. Thank you.
Why do you think that some apprenticeship is always necessary?
Some?
Apprenticeship is always necessary in governance?
Absolutely necessary.
How?
To the extent that nobody seems to know it all. And at a point in time, there will be some that will be living. It's just like a tree. When the green leaves are growing, the dry ones will actually fall. And when the green leaves are coming up, that's the young ones are coming up, they need someone to guide them. That's why we have the word mentorship. Someone to mentor them, to ensure that the nation is actually built in a systematic and a strategic way, so that we shall not be at the bad end.
What would be your reaction to this statement that Ghanaians are not Democrats at heart?
That would be actually laughable. Ghanaians are actually democratic at heart, not only in practice. We are starting from the fact that we have practiced chieftaincy over a while before the coming of the white men, and they brought in this democracy. And when you go to the chief's palace, we have the elders sitting at the both sides, whilst the chief sits at the head, just like in the parliament of Ghana. This is actually a horseshoe sitting arrangement which brings about consensus building, that we see each other eye to eye, then we deliberate over issues to be able to come to a conclusive, how would I put it, something conclusive which will build nations. So actually we have been practicing democracy, it has been at heart, and when you take the system of family in our traditional setting or at home, you see probably sometimes issues might come up, your dad will bring everybody together, let's deliberate over this issue and let's see the way forward. Thank you very much.
Now tell me, I'm taking you to the judiciary. You followed the last elections, right?
Yes, that's the 20th.
Even if you said no, I would have still asked anyway. Yes, you followed the last elections.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court played some critical roles in there.
Yes.
Tell me, in simple terms, what do you think the role of the judiciary should be in promoting good governance in any serious state? Because some states are not serious.
In every serious political jurisdiction has room for judiciary for its purpose of interpreting our laws and helping us implement the laws. When the political systems breaks down, religion breaks down, traditional settings also breaks down, the last resort in a democratic dispensation that we can run to is our judiciary. So immediately we try to run down our judiciary without any respect for the judiciary, then I think we are heading for a doom. And there's no way we can build any good nation without a serious judicial system.
So specifically, if the Supreme Court should come out with that, what should be the reaction of the state to the verdict?
We should accept the verdict.
Seriously?
Yes. No matter how you might disagree with a verdict of the Supreme Court, with the spirit, tenets, and principles of democracy, we need to accept the verdict of the ruling. No matter how, you can appeal. That's why we have the opportunity to appeal. That's the last resort for you to vent your anger. So you can appeal. After appealing, the final decision of the court should be upheld.
Prior to the last elections, the Supreme Court was very active in asking the Commission to do a number of things.
Yes.
Especially the one that relate to cleaning the register.
Yes.
The voters register.
Yes.
Don't think this amount to unnecessary usurpation of the powers of the EC?
Not at all. The voters register is the only tool that we have to authenticate someone to be able to vote, someone to be able to exercise his or her right in an electionary year or in a democratic dispensation. So as far as we have foreigners infiltrating our register to make decisions on behalf of citizens of Ghana, then I think they will not have the interest of the nation at heart. So the best thing to do is you have to decide and protect one of your own. So if the judiciary should come out that we have to cleanse the register to take out minors, which is against the rules of engagement, which is against the constitution, the 1992 constitution of Ghana, then I think we have to uphold that, cleanse the register, take out foreigners, take out minors, and ensure that those who are responsible to make decisions on behalf of the country would make that decision. Thank you very much.
Yes, I wanted to find out whether the ruling was specific on and who should be on the register, whether indeed those who were using NHIS cards, etc., should, or whether it was specifically on aliens or minors, among others. But you've made your point. You've made your point. So we thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, contestant. He sees the judiciary as a very important institution within any democratic setup. Can we have the next contestant, please? Please tell us your name and where you're coming from.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Apollos Ambrose Jr. and I am a graduate of the University of Cape Coast. So due to graduate tomorrow, God willing.
Congrats in advance.
Thank you.
Your question will be coming from Judge Nancy Owusu. Over to you, judges.
Congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
Okay, so why should you win this contest?
Well, I believe I should win this contest because of the heart I have for leadership, to speak the truth objectively, okay, the objective truth, and in an absolute manner, that whatever subjective thoughts people have or hold should not influence our objective beliefs. Okay, what should be the general truth? And so, with that type of heart, to speak against corruption, to speak against some evil things happening in the system, not just in Ghana, but I mean West Africa and Africa as a whole, I believe it's a step in the right direction should I win.
I'm interested in the evil things you mentioned. Can you highlight at least two of them for me?
Okay. Yes. One of them is one of them which is much devastating when I think about it is tribalism. When it comes to leadership in Ghana, West Africa, and Africa. Okay, it looks like every time we always select our leaders through tribalism, and this is how they've always gotten us. Okay, someone wants to become president, and he knows that strategically he has to go by the tribalistic uniform. He has to go by the religious uniform to get people, and people are like, this man is from my place, he's from my circle, and so I should vote for him. And I believe moving forward, that should not be the case. Okay, we've had a lot of those scenarios, not just in Ghana, but in other places, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and elsewhere. And I believe this is one of them. And the second one, which is also dear to my heart, is the issue of corruption. Okay, corruption, where we have our leaders who set the rules, but they go against it. Okay, we are here in Ghana, we have medical doctors in the system, but each time our people want to take care of themselves, they go elsewhere
What do you think has led to that type of attitude in Ghana and other African countries? Why do you think that sectarian, attitude has come up so much?
Okay, thank you very much. Naturally, human beings always want to associate themselves with like minds, people of similar nature. And so I believe when it comes from tribe, if I should support my brother, there's no problem with that. That is, if I'm supporting him for objective, cogent reasons which are very much clear that he is going to deliver. But when it's just going to be on the superficial level of, he's my brother, and so I should support him, that is where my problem is. And pointing out, going deep into it, I believe that we shouldn't just look at people from that superficial point of brothers, of someone coming, I'm from this place. We know that people from Volta region or majority of people from Volta region are quote unquote NDC, majority of people from the Ashanti region, quote unquote NPP people, and all those things. I believe we should move beyond that and select our people objectively. I think Ghana needs development because we are behind. We are behind in a lot of facets. We are behind technologically. We are behind in terms of development when it comes to the laws and some of that, and obeying them. And I believe Ghana needs development because the future is looking up to us. The future is learning from us. Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, one man I adore so much, said something. He said that he believed that those of us coming in now would do better than what the older people are doing actually or currently. But he now doubts that we'll be able to do that, because he foresees us doing worse than what is being done now. Why? Because we are speaking against the evil, not because we know what it's all about. We are just speaking, but when we get the platform, when we get the opportunity, we are not going to do the right thing. And so for development, I believe for Ghana to be developed, we need to go in the right direction, because the youth is looking up to us. And if we don't do it now, it will be a bad story for us in the future. We need the youth that has the Nkrumah spirit.
The time is almost up.
All right. Thank you.
Contestants.
Thank you very much.
I mean, he sees ethnocentrism and corruption as a bane to the practice of development, as a bane to the practice of democracy in Ghana and Africa as a whole. Can we have the next contestant, please?
My name is Apia Ofori Emmanuel from UCC.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, as I've already said, my name is Apia Ofori Emmanuel.
Yes.
And I'm a science student, specifically molecular biology and biotechnology student, level 300 at the University of Cape Coast.
I see. So what has brought you here today? Science student.
Okay, I heard this information about the youth president of Ghana. First, it was an essay competition, so I participated, and I was part of those who were selected to come for an interview today. So
So when you heard youth president, yes, what prompted you to participate in it?
Okay. Here in our country, most of the decisions they take, the youth are not in control. So I think this platform will give the youth is an opportunity for the youth to participate in governance.
How much do you know about the local governance system of Ghana? How much do you know about it?
I know a bit about it. I know the local system is grouped into district assemblies ruled by the district chief executives, and we have a minister for local governance.
How is a chief executive made a chief executive?
First, currently the chief executive is appointed by the president, but I think there is an amendment in place which seeks to bring the policy that district chief executive should be elected by the people.
There is a proposal.
Yeah, proposal, yes.
There have not been an amendment yet.
Okay, there is a proposal. Thank you.
What district do you come from?
I come from Kwaibibrem district in the eastern region.
Do you live there?
Yes, I live there.
You live there?
I live there.
Who is your chief executive?
Currently, I don't know the chief executive.
Executive?
Yes.
Thank you. Since you are from Kwaibibrem, maybe I can push some questions.
Okay.
Let's talk about chieftaincy. You are from which of the towns in Kwaibibrem? Which of the towns?
Adankrono, near Kedi. Yes.
Okay, okay. So, they are saying that chiefs should not participate in politics.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think I support that proposal because chiefs are a symbol in society. You know, they are supposed to be neutral in society, so they don't have to take part in politics.
But the chiefs are also arguing that they want to be in politics.
Yes, but that shouldn't be the case.
Why not?
Because the position that they occupy, they must play a neutral role that brings togetherness. So if they are fine to support a particular political party, that will discredit them, you know, from performing that neutralism role in society.
I see.
Yeah.
So if you have a grievance within your district,
yes,
by what process would you get it heard within your assembly?
Okay, first you talk to your assemblyman about it. Then he too will take you to the assembly level.
The procedure, what do you know about the procedures? Because we are talking about accountability here, right?
Yes.
So, yes, you need to know what happens. If you know the procedures, then you can easily do follow-ups and ensure that the right things are done.
Yes, first when you talk to your assemblyman, then you see that the results are not forthcoming, then you can follow up to the district office, where you can get in contact with the district chief executive or those he works with. Then you can present your problem there too.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you very much, contestant.
I am Idi Mohayuddin. I come from Gimpa. I school at Gimpa, if you like.
What are you studying?
Yes, I'm studying.
Course of study?
I just enrolled in the LLB program.
Okay. Your question will be coming from Judge Dr. Evans Agredakun. Over to you, judges.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to see you, gentlemen. You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm humbled for the opportunity.
Okay. Why did you decide to read law?
Basically, I have observed that as a country, we are lagging behind when it comes to our appreciation of the law. And the law is really the bulwark of our governance regime. Without an appreciation of the law, we are really not a nation that lags behind, because the law tells us what it is that we are supposed to know, that would make us live in a democratic society.
But you also would agree with me that sometimes when people become excessive, or they cultivate this excessive, what we call participant political culture, they can be lawless sometimes.
Well, that is a truism, but I'm not sure that it is enough to suggest that because of that possibility, we should not challenge ourselves to understand the laws that govern our very jurisdiction, because that will be tantamount to basically killing ourselves. Because to me, like I said, the law is virtually everything. Knowing the law is appreciating your society, and once we live in a society, we ought to know the difference between the right and wrong and what have you.
But you don't necessarily have to read law in order to appreciate the law.
The law would enhance that particular, yes, obviously.
Okay. Now, thank you very much. You know, we argue that rule of law is a cornerstone of any serious liberal democracy. What do you think are some of the impediments to the attainment of this all-important concept of governance, rule of law?
Okay, to start with, rule of law is a principle that basically says that we should allow the law to govern us rather than be judged by the whims and caprices of man. So instead of allowing man to rule us, I mean, to use the words rather bluntly, we should rather be guided by the very provisions of our laws. So that is basically what rule of law is, allowing the structures and the legal regime to determine how we conduct ourselves. The impediment, I would say, is to a very large extent the excessive partisanship that has permeated the Ghanaian societal fabric, which is making us many a time compromise on the law, on the altar of political expediency. So excessive partisanship, like I said, is one of the conundrum that is militating against our quest to realizing the rule of law climate that we yearn for ourselves.
The conundrum, okay. Be the lacuna, for instance, since you went to a conundrum.
Okay.
What would be the lacuna and the existence and the existing structure, especially if you look at the relationship that exists between the executive and the legislature? What would be the lacuna that you have identified?
Okay, when you say lacuna, essentially you are looking at a gray area of the law where the law hasn't really touched on. Well, I would say that our constitution is an evolving document and has not obviously catered for every circumstances. So there are some loopholes in our constitutional, if you like, dispensation, and
what are some of the weaknesses you have identified quickly, if you can?
Okay, I would say in terms of the weaknesses, our constitution provides the doctrine of separation of powers. And somewhere, somehow, the same constitution has enjoined the head of the executive to appoint many ministers from parliament, obviously because of the history of our governance regime. That's the Liman time when his budget was disapproved by parliament and all of that. So that has shaped our current constitutional architecture. And I find that rather an absurdity, because if you want to practice separation of powers, essentially what you are saying is that the various arms of government must be allowed to function effectively without interference from other arms. But it appears in the Ghanaian jurisprudence, what happens is that the executive seems to have a lot of control even over the affairs of parliament and all of that, and that to me is very problematic, and we would have to consider.
So you think that the problem, as you see it, is an institutional creation? Is that what you are suggesting? Or it's just the behavior of the actors within the institutions?
It's not exhaustive. I think the two are not mutually exclusive. In fact, I would put the blame, I would more or less cite the two. I mean, one is behavioral and two is institutionalized. Really.
So how would you deal with the behavioral aspect of the problem you have identified?
I think the behavioral aspect, obviously, I think we have to approach that from the scratch. We must get our fundamentals right from the word go. And that would mean that we probably have to start educating our youth at the basic level, inculcating in them the sense of nationalism and patriotism. And to that extent, when we are able to do that, obviously, they'll grow up with that particular culture. So that to me, so education and sensitization to me will be a way to tackling the behavioral difficulties that is bedeviling us.
So in one sentence, can you tell me how you can grade the governance of this country if you are expected to award marks?
I'll fight behavioral inequities, and for that matter, matters that have to do with our conduct, attack conduct, and which is leading to corruption and all of that.
I was expecting you to score. Grade means give it a score, but that's okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, contestant.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Please tell us your name and where you are coming from.
My name is Tekia Sewajaman, and I'm a student of the University of Ghana.
Yeah. Your question will be coming from Judge Nancy Owusua. Over to you, judges.
Do you think Ghana needs development and why?
Thank you very much once again. Ghana really needs development. We've started, and I think we have a very long way to go. Development in all walks of life, starting from our human resources, our institutions that are already working. So we need development. We need development so as to seek the betterment of this country.
I have realized that one major challenge we as Ghanaians face is the issue of sanitation. It has become a canker in this country, which deter a lot of investors from, entering into Ghana. In your opinion, what do you think can be done to curtail this problem?
Thank you very much, Ms. Nancy. What Ms. Nancy is saying is a very true argument, in the sense that Ghana has been ranked the seventh dirtiest country in the world, which is quite disheartening. You realize I'm even fumbling. You understand? When a country which is being mimicked outside because of our peaceful elections that continuously goes around sequentially for 4 years, and people look up to us in all other things, and we keep making our environment dirty. People are dying of cholera day in, day out. I mean, it's something that needs to be checked. I would like to commend our previous government for initiating the one Saturday for every month sanitation exercise that is going on. It's one way of improving our sanitation. And if this particular agenda is given much attention to, I believe Ghana wouldn't be on the 7th. We would not even be on the list of dirtiest countries in the world. So we need to put our institutions
I didn't get
work.
the solution right.
Okay.
Can you pinpoint out exactly what one solution we can use to curtail this?
We should conscientize our people. We should make them understand that sanitation starts from our personal homes. We should first make sure we are practicing personal hygiene. That is what we take out. Our schools should also implement that. We should be teaching that in school, right from the basics. You see, when you teach a child how he or she should go, the person lives up to a very laudable point with what the person has been taught. So when a child, since kindergarten, is being taught, you don't litter around. You put your litter in the dustbin. When these things are done, right from the scratch, right from the grassroots, we are going to build a nation without a poor sanitation. Thank you.
Right. The issue of illegal mining has become a problem now in this country. It is seen that most of the people in our local communities are being involved in this activity called galamsey. What can you do should you win this contest to curtail this?
Thank you very much, Ms. Nancy. Illegal mining, also known as galamsey in most areas, is something that has been going on for some time, and we are even losing lives. We are losing resources, our lands. Our water bodies are spoiling. We are killing ourselves with this illegal mining. But there are people who are supposed to be taking care of these mining activities. Why don't we get very good jobs for those people who have decided in their hearts, purpose in their hearts, to conduct illegal mining? Why don't we give them jobs, find ones to do, so that those who are cut out for the job of mining, those who use appropriate tools and appropriate methods to take over. Now, when these people are given the opportunity to work, we are going to retrieve so much from it, as revenue and a whole lot. And those who are rather conducting the illegal mining in local areas, they'll be given jobs to do in order for them not to feel the urge to go and then engage in themselves in illegal mining.
You said there are people supposed to take care of this challenge.
Yes,
who are these people, and how can we create jobs for these miners?
All right. Thank you very much once again. I know there is a mining sector in Ghana. Yes, we do have a mining sector, a mining institution that takes care of this whole mining idea in Ghana. And those who are unemployed and are finding themselves busying all around the places where there can be gold and other minerals, they can be sorted out with something else. Our president, President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is going to initiate one factory, one dam, one district, one dam, one district, one factory. All these people, we will need them to be assisting, okay? And this is going to generate income for them as well as the country. So I feel it would be very wise on our part to factor these people in such quarters. Thank you.
Who are members who form parts of the district chief executive unit?
The district chief executive unit. We have the DC, that's the district chief executive, who is the head of the DC unit. And we have other subcommittees that works under them.
Okay, final question. Who is the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I really don't know the person.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. We thank the youth President Ghana for this initiative. We know very well that if the country really will have to develop, then we need to build a participant political culture. People who know what they are doing and they can support the political system to develop. This is a very laudable initiative. As you can see, the participants distinguish themselves quite well, appearance-wise, because I think that if you want to be a serious leader, your appearance is very important. You cannot be a leader who is shabbily dressed. So appearance critical. You need to articulate the issues very well. You know, leadership is also about aggregation and articulation of interests. And so if you're able to articulate that, that is also very critical. Demonstration of the knowledge of the area is critical to any quality leadership. A leader ought to be intelligent, but he also has to have practical knowledge of the existing state of affairs. And that is important. And you realize that these contestants, to a very large extent, exhibited high level of understanding and appreciation of the issues of the day. It is my hope that as they go through the processes, they will build a confidence, they will deal with the areas, some of the gray areas. I believe that these are people that if we nurture, we can get the best out. And so I think that is a good exercise which ought to be supported subsequently. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Evans Agredako. Judge Nancy Osua, can we have a word from you?
After everything, I think the contestants really did their best. They came out poised for this challenge and to face us as judges. I think there's more room for improvement. There's a lot more we can do as Ghanaians and as young people. I think this is a right step. This is a right step in the right direction. So they should carry on. Some of them really stood out as exceptionally good, and others too, they tried. So I think in all, they did their best. And as subsequent days to come, they should come out with all their readiness, with all their swag, and I'm sure they can do it. I'm sure they can do it. It just, some were really shivering anyway, under tension and all that. But I'm sure in subsequent days to come, they can really pull off and then do their best. But in all, it was a great performance.
Thank you very much. Judge Nancy Usua says in the subsequent programs, come out with your readiness and swag. Thank you very much. Can we have a word from you, Judge Kwesi Michael Ofer?
All in all, this has been a very interesting program, and I think that the contest is quite keen. I've seen the participants doing the best that they can to try and convince us as well as the audience that they are on track and that they understand the issues at stake. For me, this program, what strikes me so well is the fact that somehow we are getting people to understand the nuances of governance, based on which should they come out to talk at any point in time and at any forum, they will be able to articulate the ideas the way they should, knowing the laws that exist and the procedures that are supposed to be used in the work that is supposed to be done in this country. Time has been when we've had people, especially radio stations, there are people they call serial callers. They don't seem to know the issues, but they want to argue. And I believe that an attempt to groom people to understand what happens in governance, and for that matter, should they get positions. Because I have worked with some let's call them politicians. The person is giving an appointment. The person, he comes and you see that he's very green. If they had had an opportunity like this to go through a program of this nature, the person goes into the office. Although the person may not know everything that happens in that office, he would have had an idea as to what governance is like, and you fit in more smoothly. So for me, I would just give kudos to the organizers of this program for a good job done. And then for our audience, I think they have been very good. Ghanaians are not very good at clapping, but I've seen it happen here so well. They have been clapping, and I'm so impressed. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Before we come to the final words, we have a word from Dr. Bosman Asare, the head of the Political Science Department, University of Ghana.
I know the judges have done the ranking in terms of those who did well. When I was listening to Nancy, Nancy was making the point that some people did extremely well, and some people too, they were panicking under pressure. Just imagine yourself in front here. So I think they've done very well. And although the judges have done the ranking, we've had some discussions with them. I think the committee is leaning towards giving each and every one another chance. In other words, we want them to be trained. We know that for some of them, they need some preparation. If they can get that, they can go very far. So we don't want to use this particular avenue to ensure that some people are hesitant or some people don't get a chance to contest. So I think what we are trying to do is that they've shown that they are capable of doing something in the prime time. In other words, in the midst of difficult challenges, they can live up to expectation. So what we are going to do from today is that they will be given the platform. We are going to get people who are going to be coaching them, people who are going to educate them on certain things. Because we noticed that for some of the questions, either they were fumbling or they didn't have any idea at all. And our senior judge was making the point that there are some people in politics, some of you are even more intelligent than them. But as a country, we need to make sure that we get the best brains leading us. So it's our thinking that if we can do this very well, those who are in the world of politics will realize that even the young people, the things they know. So if you get the chance to be a member of parliament, you get the chance to be a minister, deputy minister, etc., you make sure you do the right thing. And you know, we always say, leaders, the things they do, they are a reflection of their society. So if we have people who are very smart, we'll make sure we get leaders who are equally smart. We don't want to be smart and we are led by people who are not. It will be very difficult for our country. So this thing we are doing is more, this is an intellectual reality show. There are many things going on, but for this one, it's intellectually involving, it's about development, it's about the transformation of our country. And we expect that when we finish this particular round, there will be another round. We expect most of you in the audience to also take part. But we know if we are able to do this very well, Ghana will be the main beneficiary. And as I said, we will be able to transform Ghana with this particular agenda. I think with this, we are going to allow the judges, Dr. Evans Agridaku, based on the ranking. As I said, the rankings have been done, but we are going to give each and every one the chance to take part in the next phase. So we are going to allow Dr. Agridaku to give the final verdict. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bosman Asare, the head of department of the Political Science, University of Ghana.
Yeah, thank you very much, my boss, for the wonderful comments. And I agree with you that in every serious society, the best must rule the rest, fundamentally. But if you're unable to do that, the society will never progress. And that's a fact of life. It's a universal truism. So the best must rule the rest. And if you think that you are the best and you are not interested in how the state is governed, then there's a tendency that your inferiors will rule you. In fact, to put it bluntly, you are going to live under the government of fools, fundamentally. If you go through the whole processes, as my colleagues have indicated, good performance. They need some fine-tuning in several areas, as we have all identified. Some makeup artists will have to come in. Some image consultants will have to come in, so we can fine-tune the individuals, the color combinations, among others, because we also put emphasis on appearance, among others. Largely, in a good number of them, how many? I think about 3 people altogether scored A by Legon grading standards. 3 people had A. We had about 4 also securing B+, what I call a gentleman's pass. We had some few people in the C brackets and so on, and there are others who were also in the popular stand, what I call the popular stand. But largely, if you look at their composure and the way they tackled the various questions that were posed to them, we are of the firm belief that if you are giving some additional support, these are people who will excel in various fields. And that is why I think the organizers have decided that you need to give them another opportunity. So, as I said, we are also very grateful. Let me take the opportunity to thank the organizers for also asking us to be part of this reality show. It is our belief that it's not going to be a 9-day wonder. It ought to be sustained. I have been worried, as a policy person, I have been worried about the sustainability of the things that we do. Otherwise, so if you don't sustain it, the benefit will be lost on us. So we think that it ought to be sustained, and we encourage the people to be up and doing. We all agree that apprenticeship of whatever kind is important for excellence. And my colleagues have argued that practice does not always make man perfect. But what we all agree is that lack of practice will always lead to a degeneration. So on that note, we are very grateful for this opportunity. We wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Evans Agridako and your panel of judges. I would like to thank everyone for being here, for being part of this program. Your presence has given the program the needed, support and warmth, that this program is supposed to have. We also like to thank the contestants. You've all done exceptionally well, and fortunately, nobody is going home today. So you have the opportunity to prepare well for the next program, come out better, and as Judge Nancy said, come out with your swag and, ready to, break a leg next time. So thank you very much.
We are all